Hey, me, Makari. You joined Discord and Twitch. Hey, thanks, bye. We've all been in a bit of a D&D mood, what with the Legends of Evantris becoming my most watched video on my YouTube channel, and I thought as a way to celebrate that, we'll double down and have some more D&D slop. This time, in the art of Jaiden animations, and her first time playing Dungeons & Dragons Tale, because if it's something that we all share in common, those of us who've played D&D will often have very similar stories to tell, and our first ever experience of D&D is usually going to be our most memorable. And maybe I'll talk about my first experience in D&D at some point through this, but I want to see what Jaiden has to say about this and see how much I relate to it. So, make sure you go subscribe to Jaiden, make sure you go like the original, show its support, and all that kind of good stuff. Make sure you drop by the Twitch side and maybe join our Discord, and let's do this.
Dragons is like a board game without the board, and you play using your imagination. If you think of some...
The liberals will make you think that playing with your imagination is satanic, and you'll be chastised as a Satanist. Need only watch Stranger Things to have the... Dude, wasn't it wild that it's only been 20 or 30 years since society would literally think Dungeons & Dragons was something Satanists would do? How much cope did we need as a society to say that we're a fucked society and put excuses on other things other than the thing that was the problem?
Something, it can just happen in game. D&D is very popular. Almost everyone I've ever met absolutely loves it, and I have never played it before, even though I always thought I would really like it. People would tell me stories of their games, like, so this one time me and my party were entering a cave, and there was a big ogre guarding some treasure.
Every D&D campaign 101. See, that's something that I think might be off-putting to people, is they feel like they're not creative enough to do D&D. But really, D&D is for everybody. And if you feel like it's not good for you, you just need to find a DM who can accommodate you. Like, D&D can literally be played by anybody and everybody. It is the most hands-off, well, it's gate-kept because people are stupid, but the barrier for entry is non-existent. All it requires is for you to take some time and give yourself the chance to try and have a DM who can accommodate you. Anyone can do D&D. Absolutely anyone. And D&D doesn't have to be a commitment. You can do one-shots. You can have any kind of D&D campaign that fits your kind of personality and lifestyle. It's great.
Treasure, but I used my charisma stat to seduce him, and we ended up eloping together. Dude,
no, you can't do this. My D&D session last night. Oh my god. This hits me so close to home. I have a D&D campaign that I run on Thursdays. Sorry, that I take part in on Thursdays. And we were on a train. We were getting attacked by an assassin. My friend had been assaulted, and my character had woken up from all the commotion, come out of their room, and was like, "Wait, what? You are hurting my friend? Oh no!" My character uses Crown of Madness, which charms them and also makes them subject to my will. And then my other friend woke up and polymorphed them into a frog. This frog was then my willing servant, the unwilling servant. And I sat there thinking to myself, I could eat this frog. I could. And I really wanted to. But then I realized that my character was like 15, and I'm not sure if cannibalism at that age would really go over well with the PTSD and trauma it would instill with me later. I fucking love D&D.
If you don't think that sounds crazy fun, then I don't think we would get along, and you should probably unsubscribe. But if you do think that...
We also did have somebody with us who we literally so we as our party had gone on this train to travel to France. We had a guardian of the Crown of Yellow with us, who was supposed to just be an NPC, who was at the original place we started from. But me, in my charismatic finesse, I said to them, "Hey, you know that we are going to a place with creatures that your society deal with on a day-by-day basis. Would it not be a masterful thing to have somebody who is as well-versed as you to join us?" And the NPC was like, "No, I don't think I should. I'm here to guard. But you know, you want us to go there and to do the thing like this. But we know nothing about these creatures. Would it not make sense to have a representative of the Crown in Yellow to guide us, to give us the best possible chance?" My DM looked at me and had to roll a charisma saving throw for this NPC, and it failed. I happily wooed this NPC into becoming a member of our team. I fucking love D&D. Literally, if you have a creative mindset, if you allow yourself to embrace a character, you can do anything. Like, it's all about improv. It's all about learning how to... Because, sure, your first couple of D&D sessions, you are absolutely going to play it very safe. You are going to be a human barbarian that goes, ugh. And, you know, as you get used to D&D, you'll learn to loosen up. You'll learn to try and play characters that are a bit more diversive. And that's what this little plague doctor girl was. She was a very charismatic girl. Somebody who was very willing to do what was required. I love it. D&D is one of the most liberating forms of roleplay, without doubt.
That sounds fun, then. Hey. Sorry, I've never done that before.
Yeah, I mean, it does come down to having a good DM as well. If you have a good DM will make anything work.
Charlie Slimesicle, because he's super into
Within
D&D,
reason.
and we ended up forming a little group of me, Alphared, Ronbu as the players, and Charlie as the dungeon master, which is like the game organizer / manager / god. We all created our characters, and into the world we were teleported.
And if this doesn't prove, like, just seeing these characters, if this doesn't prove how wild D&D can be, you know, some D&D will set some ground rules so that you stick within the fantasy. But I did a D&D campaign, a one-shot, where it was my orc boy, Tark, a seductress, bard, a kobold, and then an old grandmother and an accountant. And we had to fight a kraken-sized duck. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does an accountant and a grandma fight a kraken? That's the neat part. They didn't. However, my orc used the grandmother as a projectile. My orc picked up this elderly woman and used her as a projectile against the duck, dealing 32 points of bludgeoning damage. And you want to know what the funny thing was? In the attempt of trying to get off of the duck, the grandmother not only survived, but then fell down this duck's mouth and choked it. And the accountant didn't do any damage, but it sat there taking notes on everything.
Characters, and into the world we were teleported. The clouds part over a vast, lush forest. In it, a giant ancient oak tree can be found looming over all the other trees.
I love Jaiden's art. I know she's got a team that does all this for her, but still.
And a sign hangs on the side reading Old Oak Inn. Inside, many creatures of various origins are relaxing,
where all the plot development
drinking,
happens.
socializing, but one stands out. A cat, equipped with various instruments, sits at a table, leaning over their cup of milk and scanning the room. They spot a dragonborn drinking at the bar, alone, seemingly pondering life. From the other end of the bar, a man in a suit approaches the dragon and starts a casual conversation. Do you know Mark? No, I don't.
Do you know Dave?
I'm Paul. I'm an assistant manager.
And I've got a traumatic backstory. 7 of my parents died, and 15 of my dogs have run away from me, and all of my goldfish have filed for divorces. I am every tragic backstory. I'm also an accountant.
Ye old mart of Wall, 43 years old. My wife passed away during childbirth.
Yeah, there you go. Tragic backstory.
Died. My only child, Paul Jr., ran away at age 6. I'm living a deadbeat life, not even able to go up in the corporate ladder because my manager, Mark, prevents me from doing so. So here I am, drinking away my woes.
Yeah, D&D. Lest we know, it's entirely populated by
excuse
orphans.
Me, are you two new around here? Born and raised.
Aw, he's cute.
Okay, so I've been stuck in a time loop for what I believe to be the past 3 years.
Ooh,
I've relived the
that's
same
a fun
day
idea.
over and over. I suspect my neighbor Thomas somehow trapped me here, but I don't know how to escape.
I'm starting to get some major Legends of Evantris vibes out of this. Because that's the thing about, like, not every D&D campaign is serious. Sometimes you'll just have D&D that's like Legends of Evantris goofy, where it's like, are you gonna commit war crimes? Are you gonna commit various acts of Geneva suggestion?
I can prove it. Look, over there. In about 5 seconds, there's a 70% chance a waiter is gonna trip and drop their glasses onto the ground. Well, alright. It's a bit impressive.
Ooh,
but,
I like the idea of that. It's like time travel would be weird, but it could work.
Because that wasn't all that. Suddenly, a sheep crashes through the tavern windows and starts
Magic
rampaging
sheep!
around the inn. It's going straight up crazy, knocking over tables, knocking over people. Paul mentions it's got something in its mouth, and the sheep immediately stops and runs straight up to him. As Paul takes what seems to be a scroll out of the
hello,
sheep's
plot
mouth,
device.
Zoot whips out their mace in an attempt to pepper spray the sheep, but slips on a puddle of rum and accidentally sprays Paul, who just is
and that's called PvP. You know what the funny thing is? I love D&D sessions where you can be as much of an enemy to your team as the enemy can be. In my very first ever D&D campaign. In fact, so this was my very first ever D&D character. Her name is LaRonda. And yes, she does look suspiciously like me as a character. And that's because that was my save character. I literally just made myself as a tiefling. She was a sorcerer who knew no magic. She was part of a wizard family of famous wizards, but for some reason, she couldn't use magic. So she stole her family crest, which allowed her to channel some basic form of magic. The problem was, the crest was wild magic. So everything she cast ended up being wild magic. And the first thing she ever cast to help her team spawned mana crystals under her feet that if you picked them up had a 50% chance to explode or heal you. Me, being the adventurous type, I picked one up and it nearly TKO'd our entire team. I love D&D.
disappointed at this point. The three open the scroll, and Zoot, recognizing it's a
Kool-Aid,
speak with
I can
animal
follow.
spell, translates it, casting a huge shockwave and blasting everything in its radius.
Oh no! Average D&D session.
Hello, can you understand me now? Why the f did you try to spray me with mace? Zoot and the sheep start bickering as Paul and Tholomew just stare at them. Just forget it, forget it. I'm no ordinary sheep. I used to be human and was cursed into a sheep's.
You know, Jaiden is doing a very good job of demonstrating the different character arcs and character types you can have in a D&D session. Sure, you can have very edgy characters, but equally, you can have as goofy as fuck characters as you want. Sure, if you, like, the only limitation is your imagination. If you want to be a human trapped inside a sheep body, yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Body. My name is Luop, and I need your help becoming human again. Please. Alright, Lop. Well, it's Luop. Come on, guys, let's go. And for some reason, they all went along with it, still not understanding what the hell is going on. Maybe, they both thought, they could find their arch enemies, Mark and Thompson, along the way. The group is walking through the woods. Tholomew is very on edge, feeling like something isn't quite right. The tree line is shifting
spooky.
in unnatural ways.
See, I've been part of multiple different D&D campaigns. I've been part of some that are more just sort of by the numbers, where it's not so much about the roleplay as it is the exploring. It's about the meta of everything. It's about, hey, what do you do now? Oh, you go here? Okay, there's a thing. And I've also been part of some where it's much more roleplay heavy. And to me, I much more prefer a D&D campaign where the DM actively sort of like plays out the scenes and plays the characters and immerses you a bit. And I don't think there's any such thing as there's no such thing as bad D&D. There's just D&D that's more relevant for your taste. And to me, I love the fantasy of feeling immersed in that universe. And I know there are some people who just like playing a D&D session by the numbers. That's awesome. That's what I mean when I say D&D is immensely inclusive. Equally, there's also D&D for those of you who enjoy a bit of degeneracy. And I recently myself started a D&D campaign that had degenerate antics as part of it. And as a fun little tidbit, my whole comic that I've been making, the Kariverse, has been the biggest excuse to make characters that I then inadvertently use for D&D. And I know I've said this in a previous video. This little goblin here, this little goblin, I made her specifically for a D&D campaign. And then she became one of my most known Kari members. Once again, D&D, no limits. It's all about the imagination. And more importantly, it's about finding the right group. Like, if you feel like a D&D group is just not for you, don't just stay there because of obligation. Not every group is made even. Not every D&D player is going to be a good player. Sometimes you'll run into people who are god moders. And I fucking hate those people. People who have main protagonist syndrome. The people who want to make the entire story about them. And I've had a few people like that in my campaigns, and it ruins everything right off the bat. Because, oh my god, I'm trying to have some character development. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a character that's worshipped by a cultist leader. You're the leader of a cult and already worshipped by so many characters, and you already have deity level powers. So what's your character development going to be like then? Like, I get it. In some sessions, sure, you could have sort of power fantasy based.
But what about a D&D campaign that is nothing but fetch and escort quests? At the same time.
So realistically, if you join a campaign, the expectations and the sort of styles should be set by the DM. And if you accept that, then you're staying around because you accept that that's what it's going to be like. And hey, you're not always going to have a good D&D session. Sometimes you run into god modus. Sometimes you'll run into a story that just doesn't quite click. But, you know, you have to have some bad sessions to have the good ones. So, I don't know. D&D's great. I love it.
Oak trees.
I'm just trying to encourage people to give it a try.
The bushes are rustling. Zoot spots various random animals along the path and picks up a turtle, which they add to their inventory.
How does one become a GM? If you want to become a dungeon master, like somebody who runs these, you can just do it. Like, my first ever experience of D&D was when I went around a friend's place and they were playing Pathfinder, and they got me to play with them, and they made me DM for one of their sessions. I had no idea what I was doing, and they said, hey, just improv. And I did. I spawned orcs on their entire team and got them all killed. But there's no limit. Absolutely. If you want to be a DM, it's probably worth knowing the rule set. It's probably worth having some rules there, learning the systems, because there's obviously different integrations you can work with. Foundry, Roll20. You could do paper and pen. Probably it's just worth researching. Like, being a dungeon master is probably the only thing within Dungeons and Dragons that requires you to have a bit of knowledge, because the more you know as a DM, the more you can rely on that knowledge to help set the scene. But likewise, sometimes you're going to have to do some bad D&Ding. Sometimes you're going to have to be, you have to become a DM to get better at being a DM. So obviously that's a skill set, like anything. You have to learn it. You're going to run a couple of really crummy campaigns to learn how to do it better. At that point, it's probably better to do some one-shots just to get the hang of it, and then worry about longer form campaigns.
To pocket a turtle of his own, but it turns out to be a rock and is then mauled by a cougar. He ends up unharmed, though his adventure suit he changed into is now ruined.
Yeah,
Zoot feels bad about Paul not getting a turtle, so they offer to let Paul name theirs, to which he chooses Paul Jr. They eventually reach a clearing with a large stone outcrop.
You know, it's funny that this always reminds me of Monty Python. Have you ever seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail? That is quite literally a Dungeons and Dragons session. Literally, figuratively, and everything. Ah, yes, this mighty wizard. His name is Tim.
And engraved shifting runes. Carved into a stone is a large bronze door with a face on it. Hello. You should try to impress it. Oh, okay.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, you slap those bongos.
Riddles 3, and then you can come in. I'm a riddle door.
Okay, but you're a riddle door. But what if I could finesse you? What if I romance the door? You know, we don't have to answer the questions if it's wooing for me. And you see, that, as goofy as it may be, would still be an option. It wouldn't be a very good option, but you could still try. The DM will sit there and look at you and say, are you fucking stupid? Just answer the questions. And it's like, no, I will woo the door. I will seduce the door.
The alphabet goes from A to Z, but I go from Z to A. What am I?
the alphabet backwards.
The answer was zebra.
Oh. Yeah, no, we've looked at some of the people and leaked stuff in the past.
I move without wings between silken strings. I leave as you may find my
Hey, and you know what? Don't tell any of my DMs that I told you this. But part of the fun of D&D sometimes is making your DM's life a living misery. Hey, what's that? Hey, yo, yeah, here's the DM's idea. So here's the plot device. Here's the thing, you know? You start here. Here's the next plot device. And then you should go straight there. And then I'm like, nah, let's go over here and then over here and then yoo-hoo! And then it's the DM's job to try and get you back to here. But because I'm immensely ADHD-ridden, my mind is like, okay, but can we make this 900 sessions long? Oh, no, oh, we're going close, and side quest!
substance.
I'm gonna say a spider, because I got the butt strings.
Just as a point, the campaign that we had with Issa here, it was supposed to be roughly 20 to 30 sessions long. It lasted for 60 something. Because we kept getting distracted. But, and like, I get it, right? A good DM will shoehorn you back, but doing side quests is also just a great, like, opportunity for improv. And because like D&D, everything D&D related propagates off of the idea of the yes and paradigm. The yes and philosophy. Because a good DM will get you back to the main story, whilst also within reason facilitating your ability to explore.
Correct! You may pass.
Wait, but can you turn our friend back?
No.
Oh yeah, double or nothing. Answer this next riddle, and your friend will be turned back.
I think it looks better as a zebra.
I creep and crawl with no eyes.
Guys, I don't think you understand. You have a free riding mount with you. Why would you want him to turn back? He's way more useful as a steed.
Ears, but I can move the earth with my peers. What am I?
Can you use it in a sentence?
In answer to the question,
Yeah, like spelling bee style.
nice try, but you're not gonna worm your way out of this.
He's just being a little creature.
I think I picked up on it. I don't know if you noticed, but he said worm on accident. I'm very detail oriented.
Don't listen to him. He's so evil.
Paul Jr., what do you think the answer is? Turtle. Turtle, final answer. It's a worm. The adventurers walk through the door's mouth, which closes behind them. As they're walking into an open room, they're greeted by a closed silver door. Zoot immediately pitches the turtle at the door, but nothing happens. There's three dishes
yes, the
of
good old
clay
throw the
placed in front
turtle
of three
tactic.
pedestals, and the door face emerges once again, this time on the ceiling.
In order to continue, create whatever you want.
Not wanting to deal with more riddles, Zoot throws a dagger into the door's eye.
That's literally something I would do. In my session last night, we were talking to two characters that were guarding an entrance into something we needed to get to. They'd already killed a bunch of civilians, but they were trying to gaslight us into believing that what they were doing was just natural and that we didn't have to fight them. Motherfucker, you just murdered an entire train cart full of people. I'm done with this finessing. My character fucking jumped over all my team members. Naruto ran right up to the face of one of these characters and proceeded to miss their main attack, their bonus attack, and their extra swing. My character then lost all their hit points and was knocked unconscious for the rest of the fight.
Fine, I'm not helping you with this one.
The group, now lost with no direction, decides for some reason to all start eating the clay, even feeding some to Paul Jr. and Walt against their wills.
Yeah, eat it.
After all the clay has been consumed, the pillars glow red and more clay drops down from the ceiling, resetting the puzzle. Huh. Out of ideas, they decide to do what the door face suggested. Tholomew sculpts a crown, Zoot rolls out a worm, and Paul builds a penguin. They all place their creations on pedestals, which sink in and beam green before the lights turn out and everything goes dark. They flash back on and suddenly all their creations have come to life in weird clay flesh bodies. Paul cleaves at his penguin with...
I'm gonna be honest, I think I want to be part of a campaign that that Jaiden's part of. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Nearly cutting it clean in half, revealing that the inside is just more clay. The worm monster looks at Zoot and says, "It's wormin' time!" causing Zoot to scream and sending a shockwave towards it, immediately exploding the worm and splattering clay everywhere, living as a...
Man, this is some Sandman bullshit. Like Spider-Man Sandman. Doesn't matter how much you chop it down, it's just gonna put itself back together again.
Normal-sized worm now. The worm lunges and wraps itself around Zoot's throat, trying to choke them out. Tholomew rips the arms off the crown monster and dodges its follow-up attack. The penguin reforms itself, sprints full speed at Paul, but slips.
Okay, for real, Fireball. There is no situation where Fireball is not appropriate. Yeah, sure, it might engulf your teammates, but allow me to pose you a thing. Allow me to sing you a story, a song even. Allow me to give you the only thing you ever need to Wait, what?
Fireball. Fireball.
Fireball is never not appropriate. Sure, the collateral damage is absolutely going to be a problematic thing. But if the enemy are dead, just revive your teammates. You know?
And splats into a pile
Besides,
of
Fireball here would just bake the clay and make them shatter.
clay on the ground, to which Paul finishes off with his axe. Meanwhile, Tholomew attempts to rip the legs off the crown, only for the crown legs to turn into arms, grabbing Tholomew and climbing onto their head, causing them to lose their mind, viewing the other party members.
Okay. But that's kind of hot, though. I love mind control, and having a crown of domination apply to your head, turning you into the villain. That's kind of hot.
As enemies. Paul shifts his attention to Tholomew.
Or what if it was like a symbiote and it melded to your flesh and turned you into some clay-like abomination? Ooh.
Throwing his great axe horizontally at the crown. Unfortunately, it goes a bit low and the handle smacks Tholomew directly in the face. Zoot gets a grip on the worm, ripping it off their throat, and breathes acid onto it until it's reduced to ash. Tholomew blows on their bagpipes to attack Paul, sending out a thunderous shockwave that shakes the cavern. Paul is able to hold his ground, runs up to the two, and successfully cleaves the crown off Tholomew's head. All the clay monsters have been defeated. The silver door opens, and everyone cheers together in celebration. The adventurers enter the new room to be greeted by wooden structures,
No, I'm gonna apologize
spiral
to
staircases,
the cat.
platforms, and a golden door at the very back wall. It looks like a camp is
trap.
set up inside the
It's a
area,
trap.
and voices can be heard
Don't do it,
above
it's
on
a
one of
trap.
the platforms. Tholomew scans the area, looking for traces of their neighbor.
Insert that's bait meme. Excuse me.
Thompson. Not only do they discover a pack of goblins that have inhabited
Goblins!
the
Look,
area,
it's
but
your
he also
friends.
recognizes a familiar boot print in the clay. It's the same type Thompson wears. He's been here. Paul climbs up to the goblin platform and sparks conversation. The goblins are confused and a bit wary of the intruders, but introduce themselves nonetheless. I'm Gob. That's Glob. That's Goblin. That's Gobble Gob.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Legend of Zelda music just sent me.
And that's the Peeler. And who's that?
That's Jen.
Bloyle. So your names are Gob, Glob, Gobble, Gobble Gob, Peeler, and Bloyle? The Peeler. Got it.
So good.
So your name is the Peeler. You don't know anything about Marker Thompson.
I only know about one thing,
Healing.
and that's peeling.
Yeah, dude!
Great, there you go. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Oh,
Okay,
God, he's peeling my
all right,
leg.
We're leaving. Paul starts booking it to the door they came in through. The peeler right on
You
the
expected
table,
anything else from a
stabbing at his
goblin?
ankles. No one else is doing or saying anything. They're just watching. Paul makes it back to the previous room, and the peeler slinks into the shadows.
Ah, yes,
With
you
Paul in
got
the
out
other
of his
room and
aggro
Tholomew
range.
and Zoot unable to speak Goblin, Tholomew is left trying to communicate through improvised sign language, pointing at the door and blowing kisses at the goblins to signal peace. Zoot tries to slip around the goblins in the meantime, as communication is clearly not working and the goblins are only
Okay, I'm gonna roll a stealth check. And it didn't work. Shit. Hold up. I need my stealth check. Wait a minute. Wait. Stealth check. We're gonna die! Yippee!
getting more aggressive, but they bump into an invisible force they can't see, alerting the goblins, who are now initiating combat. Zoot decides to keep running to the door as Tholomew bangs on their drums, sending sound shockwaves at the attacking goblins.
Oh, he's a
Gob,
bot.
Glob, and Gobble are all sent flying off
Yeah,
the edge of the
B-17, back into
platform,
fire.
falling to their deaths. Gobblegob, in a fit of
Gobble
rage
gob.
after losing his friends, lunges at Tholomew but misses completely, sending himself off the edge of the platform too. The peeler emerges from the shadows to lunge at
Ah, the
Tholomew, who
peeler.
is taking up Loyal, but Paul jumps in just in time, clashing blades with him. As everyone is distracted, Zoot gets to the door, peeking in to see an entirely golden room with a small golden rod shaped like
money.
a tree branch floating at the center. The branch shifts between valuable materials, at one moment being made of gold, then emerald and ruby.
Ah,
Gobblegob, the
ambient.
goblin that accidentally dove off the side of the platform, sprints back up the stairs and attempts to tackle Tholomew off the platform, but accidentally leaps over him and plummets once again.
You see, and here's the thing that you should know about D&D. As much as you are privy to the subject of privy to the laws of Murphy's Law, so too is the DM. So too will whatever the DM throw at you have anything that can happen will happen. Entropy truly does befit everybody. In fact, in my session last night, out of the 20 or so rolls that I made, 7 of them were nat 20s and 5 of them were nat 1s. I don't think I've ever had a more polarized night of D&D in my life.
Over the edge, this time to his demise. Paul and Tholomew perform a clumsy team attack together and finish off the peeler, ending the battle, but because of the uncoordinated attack, Paul's axe is now peeled. They all hurry over to Zoot and enter the golden room together, trying to figure out how to get the
you got the
artifact
thing.
down. Zoot suggests they all toss Slop into the air to get it down, so Paul Solongi Bowser's the sheep into the air, but in the complete opposite direction.
Oops.
Tholomew quickly runs over and breaks his fall,
Poor
and before
sheep.
Lop can say anything, they throw him again, this time hitting their target as they both fall.
Okay, if your character is if your character has the classification of small, you are going to be used as a projectile. I'm sorry to say, if you are a medium or large creature, you are perfectly within your right to use small-sized creatures as projectiles. That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. We just enforce them.
To the ground. No one stops Lop's fall this time as he lays motionless on the floor. As Tholomew is healing up Lop, Zoot approaches the wand, only for it to be snatched by an invisible force. An unseen figure then reveals itself. Well, hey there, neighbor. Oh, and Paul. It's me, your good friend, Mark Thompson. Tholomew, you ruined my life, spreading false rumors about me. You said I cursed you, and now no one wants to talk to me.
Why am I not surprised? I knew that would come up to it. I knew. Wait, did we lose YouTube? Ah, yes, Mark, the true villain of this entire ordeal. To be fair, I kind of foresaw this coming. When they showed off Mark at the beginning, I was like, that seems awfully foreshadowing.
My wife and kids left me. Everyone avoids me. So
Pretty
I
sure
spent
Doug
years
made a
becoming
reference to this in
dark
one of his,
wizard,
videos
and
at one
I'm
point.
gonna have my revenge. What about me? And you?
We should do a live on-stream D&D session with chat. I actually know a pretty decent way we could make chat take part in a D&D session. I'll think about it. I know a way I could make it work.
Paul. Anyway, yeah. You are going to be spending the rest of your lives
yes, middle
here,
management, the
shit
true end boss of any
I'll be
any
going
endeavor.
now. Tholomew quickly casts locate object on the wand Mark is now holding and throws ink in the general direction, hoping to reveal where Mark is, but unfortunately it doesn't land. Zoot sprints in the direction Tholomew indicated and attempts to tackle the air. They make contact but bounce off of Mark's rock-solid beer gut.
Yes, the truest superpower of any middle management, crippling diabetes. And high cholesterol.
Breaking the invisibility spell. Tholomew whips out their drums, slamming it with the intent to cast a thunderwave on Mark, sending him flying from the impact. Zoot follows behind
fuck
and
you, middle
shouts,
management!
"Depression!" Casting a command spell on.
Oh no, I didn't need that call out. Man, I'm already dealing with enough of this bullshit as it is. I don't need to be reminded of my real life. Fuck you. I'm playing D&D to get away from my depression. Fucking stupid.
He stops in his tracks, facing Zoot, and says, "I'm so sad, having never dealt with depression before." He pulls out a picture of his ex-wife and kids and stares at it longingly. Paul and Tholomew see their chance to attack him and once again try to use an ultimate team attack.
Yes,
They grip
something
Paul's
we all
peel
share.
backs together
Trauma.
and throw it in tandem at Mark. But once again, they mess up and
See? Any small character can and will be... So my boy looks like he's taken back shots. And I think we need to maybe back that up a little bit for some context. As I was saying, if you are a small creature, you shall, will, and always are a potential projectile.
mess up, and Tholomew is accidentally sent flying with the axe as it pierces Mark's chest. Mark is unfazed, still wallowing in his depression.
Oh
but
shit,
Zoot
he's got a
sees this as an
high,
opportunity,
DC save.
casting Disguise Self and visually turning themselves into Mark's ex-wife.
No one deserves that. No one. Jaiden, you cruel, cruel bastard. Not even the deepest recesses of Lovecraftian hell pits would be worse than putting up with a middle management man's ex. Don't do that to this man. He's already depressed. He doesn't need an existential crisis as well.
Ella, is that you? It is. Mark. Mark drops the photo and wand, sobbing and
Now, if this was a gritty campaign, if she was a sadist, she'd be like, "You ruined me, Mark. You drove me away with your callous nature." She wouldn't try to comfort him. She'd double down so that he just gives up on life. And the fact that that's the thing that I thought of makes me realize that's what I would have done. And now I think I need a therapist.
slowly walks towards Zoot, who has their arms
Am I
out,
the villain?
ready for his embrace.
Am I
He
a
grabs
bad
Zoot
person,
and pulls
guys?
him close, tears streaming down his face.
Now stab him.
It's so
Stab
hard.
him.
I...
Stab him.
It's
Stab
okay.
him.
I'm here now.
Don't placate him. Don't pacify him. Kill him. Stab him. Stab him real good.
Zoot pulls back just a bit, just to look into Mark's eyes, which
Stab
are
him.
sparkling with tears,
Stab him.
and proceeds to acid blast him point blank from the
Yes! That's my dragonkin! Fuck yeah! That's better than stabbing. That's totally... I totally forgot she could breathe acid.
mouth.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker.
Mark is heavily damaged but alive, snapping back to reality and throwing
Oh
Paul's
my
axe
God.
to the ground. If I can't have the wand, no one can! Paul picks up one part of his peeled axe. Looks like the manager position just opened up. He throws the axe and hits Mark, but doesn't kill him.
Yeah,
he then
stick it
picks
to the
up
man.
other peeled axe part to throw as well, but it boomerangs around and hits him in the back of the head. Tholomew grabs the wand from the ground and points it at Mark. This is for everything. the low tax return, the restraining order for moving in next to me. You're my personal hell! Mark turns to Paul while being zapped by the wand. Would you still let me be your manager, even if I was a...
Oh. A worm? Wow. Somehow the metaphor just doesn't even need to be made reference to. Anyone who's ever worked retail or any kind of like minimum wage job, you see the middle management for who they truly are. The disguise has fallen away. Eat it. Eat the worm. What's the worst that could happen? It takes over your brain? I'm willing to take that risk for a bit of a worm snack. Yeah.
You're fired.
Oh!
You guys did it!
Oh,
Please,
yeah!
use the wand to turn me back into a human.
Witty
Please.
one-liner.
Bartholomew casts the wand's powers onto Lop, finally turning him back into his original form.
This better not be Joe Cat. If this is Joe Cat, I'm done with this entire thing.
All and now human Lop lock eyes. Hi, Dad.
It's a cute twink! Wait, did he say dad? Oh, no. Sweet home of Alabama. Somebody please take the computer away from me. I'm sorry.
Paul Jr. Is that you? Oh, Paul and his long-lost son, Paul Jr., embrace. The wand, now all out of magic, crumbles into dust, and the party exits
Oh,
the cave.
this is
The
good.
bomb is dead, and the explosions erupt behind them as the group walks off together.
And then the DM was like, hey, by the way, now you got to deal with a dragon. Surprise dragon moment. You haven't dealt with a dragon yet. Now it's time for a dragon. Ha! You see that? You're going to get a dragon. Like, the moment that hubris gets the better of you and anybody in your party says, that was easy, that is the moment the DM decides, oh, wow, look at that, a dragon. Like, anytime I upset my DM in my campaign, they're like, you know what? The entire train blows up and you all die. Game over. Oh, that was so good. I love that. That actually gave me the serotonin I needed for the day. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please go and watch the original, like the original. Subscribe to Jaiden. I mean, you know at this point, guys. We show love to animations like this. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!